From the minute you turn the key until the final cart is filled, you won't tolerate downtime. You want quality from start to finish. We get that. It's why we're constantly improving the quality process at our East Moline, Illinois factory. To do that, we combine the best tools, the best processes, and the best people. Right from the start, every combine is built to order. Take a journey with us to see how we strive every day to build combines that run even better than they look. Each department, all 54 of them, has a continuous improvement team, a team totally focused on improving quality. Many departments have never missed a continuous improvement goal.
The people at Harvester Works are very important to the overall process. If it wasn't for them, the machine could not get put together, and if it wasn't for their craftsmanship and workmanship, we wouldn't be able to put a high-functioning machine in the field that leverages technology and over 100 years plus of engineering understanding of the harvesting process.
We do everything we can, including ongoing employee training, to allow us to build the best product possible. Even our familiar green paint has a focus on quality. Our E-coat process has 13 tanks and 3 inspection stations after the E-coat and top coat to ensure paint quality. The quality check after painting is not a checklist. It's dynamic, based on what our inspectors see. Smart tools count and tell us that the correct number of nuts have been put on, which means no missing pieces. They also shut off when the proper torque is achieved, which eliminates loose nuts that could fall off in the first few hours of operation. Our automatically guided vehicle system keeps the parts assembly from moving to the next station until all parts of the process are completed. And our scan-to-scan system doesn't let us put the wrong parts together. It helps us ensure the options you ordered on your combine are correct. When your combine is delivered to you, you'll notice the hour meter isn't at 0. Why? Because every combine we build leaves the factory floor and goes to the test track for a minimum of 45 minutes. Each combine undergoes a 74-point inspection. Sensors detect abnormal vibration and sounds. A hydraulic filtration unit is connected to the combine to filter impurities from the hydraulic system. The result? Increased customer satisfaction and a combine that works just as hard as you do.
Any issue that gets in the customer's hands, one too many. So for us, it's a matter of what can we do here to take that information back, drive it back into the process, and mistake-proof it so that we can't do it wrong the first time.
After the test track, your combine enters a bay where it's inspected for hydraulic leaks, alignment of drives, and proper hose and harness routing, or any other abnormalities.
Running it at high speeds under, as best we can, harvest conditions. And so what we wanted to do was essentially stress the combine out so any of those low hour failures that our customers would experience would happen here. So we put this process in place to drive each machine and make sure that we induced any of those low hour failures here, and then put the firewall inspection in basically to put in a process where we're doing UV inspection, checking for any noise or vibration issues with the combine, and then any loose or missing components that may or may not be assembled to the machine.
The Harvester Works quality team developed these processes to help ensure that no combine leaves the factory with an issue.
In our final product verification process, we are the last line of defense for our customers as far as quality is concerned in this factory. So no machines are released from shipping until they are truly ready.
And after that, we still don't release your combine until the final product verification team says so. And in that, they take their cue from our founder, John Deere. Because nothing runs like a Deere.
When John Deere come out with their auto track, auto steer, I thought that was one of the greatest inventions there ever was. A lot of people fought it at first, but now People won't be without it. This is another thing that they've come out with, this active yield, that I think is going to be another one of those deals like auto steer.
In high demand by growers, Active Yield provides automatic calibration of the mass flow sensor for 5 crops: corn, soybeans, wheat, canola, and barley. This solution gives growers a combination of improved performance and uptime, depending on current calibration practices. Growers who calibrate frequently are already enjoying the benefits of optimal yield data accuracy. Now with Active Yield, they can continue to benefit from accurate yield information and also save time with automatic calibration. Typical time savings are about 90 minutes per full calibration. Even if a grower doesn't calibrate as frequently today, he will still benefit from greater data accuracy. The bottom line is that enhanced performance from better data accuracy can help support better agronomic decisions. And growers who have calibrated more frequently in the past can save more hours with Active Yield.
What I noticed with the Active Yield is that it allows us to save a lot of time. We don't have to stop, take a lot of weight measurements, comparing the weight on the combine to the grain cart. It's automatically doing that as we go through the field, and it's doing it accurately in a way that I can trust the information and therefore use it in my decision-making process after harvest.
Okay, active yield, you can turn it off and on, but when it's on, it will measure yield in the combine whenever, every tank full, whenever the tank gets up to a third of the full, it automatically calibrates. It compares the sample with the mass flow sensor and then compares it so it's automatically calibrated. Active yield eliminates time-consuming manual calibrations and replaces them with automated sensors that calibrate the machine by measuring the grain tank as it fills. Like you say, with the manual calibration, it would take 90 minutes to do it. Most guys wouldn't do it. They had to have the combine empty, the grain cart empty, and then have the truck empty, and then pick a truck load or a grain cart load or whatever, take it to town, come back, and put the numbers in there to do the calibration. With guys that have the scales on the grain carts, that helped out a lot because then they could do it right in the field, but there again, it still took time. So most of the time, people wouldn't do it. They might do it at the beginning of the harvest season, either wheat or corn. Some guys never did calibrate it. You'd ask them and they'd say, well, I just put the numbers in there what I thought it should be. So by doing this, the operator can make decisions real time without leaving the cab. Operators who rarely perform calibrations see more accurate yield mapping data. Operators who often calibrate will save time as the system calibrates itself. The mass flow sensor, which is this right up here, it still works the same as what it always does, but each time the tank fills a third of the way full, the 3 active yield sensors, these right here in the bottom of the tank, will measure the grain mass and compare it to the mass measured by the mass flow sensor. The compared mass changes the yield sensor calibration number on every accepted load. So like you say, every time the grain cart or the grain tank empties out and it fills back up a third of the way full, then it recalibrates it again. On the screen on your display, you've got the on-off switch, so you can actually shut it off if you want to do a manual calibration. I don't know why you ever would want to, but the accepted samples that are over here, as you can see, it's 159. To accept a sample, it's got to have either a 3000 or a 6000 receiver on it that has a terrain compensation module in it. It has to have a 4600 display or a 2630 display. Of course, the machine has to be on harvesting through the field. That's the number of accepted samples, and then last accepted was 2 minutes ago. One thing that it will do if the combine for some reason or another gets off level one way or the other by 4 degrees, it will kick that sample out and it'll start a new one when the grain tank empties out and starts filling up again. So, you know, if you're going on a terrace and you get over 4 degrees one way or the other, it'll kick that sample out. That's why they're showing accepted samples. You know, there may have been 230 samples, but a bunch of them were kicked out because of the combine not being level. But those are the accepted samples. and then, like I say, 2 minutes ago. So every time you empty the grain tank out, it clears it out, and then when it fills back up, okay. When it fills back up to 1/3 of a tank, in other words, as the grain is peaked over these sensors here and setting her at a level, then it'll measure the mass. And it compares with what the mass flow sensor has read. Like I say, this is going to be something that's, I think is going to be like auto steer. It's going to be one of them deals that people will just not be without from now on. You won't have to take the time to calibrate it. It automatically calibrates itself as long as it is turned on. But like I say, I don't know why you would ever want to shut it off. So, anybody have any questions? Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. The system, the active yield, will retrofit on the 16 and newer combines. So the S670s, and then they even have, and that kit is like $2,500, $2,600 for that, which, I assume that it comes with all this stuff here. Oh, excuse me, hit the wrong button. It comes with this stuff all right here and all the wiring harness and everything like that. For the 2016 S670s and on up, it's retrofittable. And even for the 2012 and 2015, it's retrofittable with a different number. Now, there is a serial brake number there that some of them won't work and some will, so we just have to check it out and see. And I'm not exactly sure what the price is on the 12 to 15 year models, but I would assume it's probably pretty close to what the 16s are. But it is a retrofittable deal that you can put on your combines that you have now. Anybody have any questions? Yes, yeah. You go in there and set your moisture according to what the elevator tells you. It's got the plus or minus, whatever you need to do to make it set. But yeah, it's the same way as what it was.
All right, I'm going to talk to you about the new corn head and touch a little bit on the draper and the advantages, some of the changes they made. So to start out with, the new combines, they have the hydraulically adjust fore and aft pitch of the headers with a touch of a button inside the cab. They have 17 degrees of tilt to adapt to changing crop and field conditions, including down crop, and the ability to start harvesting earlier and quit later in the day. They're engineered to maximize John Deere combine performance. John Deere front-end equipment solutions, they have the 700C and the folding corn head, the 700D. Still have the 600 flex drapers, the 600 flex, and then the 615 belt pickup platform. The 700C and folding corn heads, higher levels of performance when harvesting, standing down and leaning crops, takes in less material, increased separation and throughput, and allowing growers to better utilize the high levels of capacity of the John Deere combine. Increased residue management capabilities with more aggressive, longer lasting knife rolls. So with the knife rolls, you can only get the knife rolls on these combines now. You cannot get the fluted rolls any longer. You can, after the fact, purchase them through parts and put them on, but you cannot order the corn head less knife rolls. So, something to keep in mind. Have a large 18-inch cross auger, provides unmatched crop handling capacity. Reverse center auger flighting. Auger to row unit speed is optimized to feed crop and minimize crop loss due to ear tossing. Lower auger bed floor offers distinct advantages, and the dual auger strippers. Points to touch on, the gathering points, 4-position, low-profile floating type hinged above gathering chains, center and outer gatherers, hinged, quickly removable. The gather chains, heavy-duty 620, endless steel roller chains with chrome pins. Minimum clearance between gathering chains and ground, 1.25 inches. Row unit drive, enclosed, submerged, and lubricant gearbox driven by single input hexagon shaft. Gathering chain adjustment, spring-loaded and self-adjusting. The stock rolls, opposed knife, intermeshing knife. deck plate adjustment hydraulically, slip clutch 1 per row plus auger drive, trash knives, full length 1-piece heat treated steel. The new row unit increased wear life of row unit gathering chain and sprockets by 50% due to solid alloy pin bushings and increased number of sprocket teeth from 6 teeth to 8 teeth. Gathering chain has an additional 12 links and an anti-bend back feature on the chain lug. Gathering chain wear is reduced to the change from split bushing to solid alloy bushing for increased chain life. Increased wear life of stock rolls by 25% with an improved wear coating.
The new 700D rigid draper with the new draper feeding option provides up to 20% more capacity in tough conditions. With twice the motor torque on the new 18-inch top crop auger and a 37.5% increase in slip clutch torque, the center section ensures more efficient feeding to provide smoother crop flow and fewer slugs. When the 700D is equipped with a center section seal kit, growers will especially appreciate the grain savings from a reduction of up to 45% in center section losses. And a new larger tire and 14-inch rim offers industry commonality, greater durability in crops with aggressive stubble, and easier to maintain tire pressure. With the harvesting trend moving toward more straight-cut canola instead of belt pickup swathing, John Deere now offers canola growers an ideal solution to suit both practices. The draper feeding option is offered from the factory or as an aftermarket kit from parts. We can also retrofit it to the 600D.
I'll touch on the drapers just a little bit. The 700D draper platform increased combine productivity in small grain harvesting. Knife drive system is timed. Dual cut knife system produces a cleaner cut. Cutter bar hydraulic tilt adjusts to full 8 degrees. The reel resume and reverse are features on the 700D drapers.
New 700C and FC corn heads with new Romax row units deliver increased durability. Compared to previous 600 corn heads, growers will appreciate up to 50% longer wear life of row unit gathering chains and sprockets, and up to 25% longer wear life for stalk rolls. After 5 years, growers who farm 6,000 acres of corn per year can save up to $20,000 on replacement parts compared to the previous 600C model. Retrofit kits are available for the model year 2012 and newer 600C and FC heads. The new 700C and FC corn heads also come with a new option to increase performance in high moisture corn. A dealer-installed filler plate kit for the cross auger floor helps the auger to move ears but lowers the risk of kernel damage. And an improved cross auger position adjustment allows for a lower auger position to further reduce kernel damage.
And the flex draper, obviously we know cutting close to the ground. Industry exclusive HydroFlex allows close ground following. Smooth uniform feed of the crop in the feeder house. Durable high quality polytine feed roll performance, larger width. 4-inch direct drive system yields 2,000 cuts per minute for each cutting edge. Then we just have the flex. Don't know how many of them are out there, but cutting close to the ground, HydroFlex cutter bar cuts close to the ground with an auger header. Cutter bar can be hydraulically locked into rigid for harvesting small grains. And then we have the belt pickup for anybody that uses that. Crop gathering for windrow grains. Belt pickup allows for high levels of crop gathering. Header height sensing package allows harvesting faster speeds with minimal losses. Now Keaton will talk to us about the threshing.
Can you hear me? All right. I'm going to touch base on the threshing. I'm Keaton. I'm at the Wheeler store in the sales location position. We're going to talk about the crop engaging, like Tim had touched upon. There's not a whole lot they've changed. It's pretty much the same on the rotor side coming through. The main rotor we see around here is the tri-stream rotor. It works best in the crop conditions we use in crops we harvest. They do have the variable stream rotor, but that's more down like in your rice in tough conditions is what it is. So based upon the new machines, like I said, they haven't changed a whole lot on the crop engaging and the rotor and everything coming through. One area they have changed is the active concave isolation, which is an option on it. What that does as you can see in the video here, this is a set of concaves that are kind of, I guess you could take a slug on. What this new one does is it'll hold that everything to where it doesn't budge and go up and down, break shear bolts, and it keeps the rotor continuously threshing and not having to ever slow down or anything on that effect. So when we go to the next video, it'll show you with the concave isolation. It's hydraulic, and what it does, here's your hydraulics right there. And it holds the concave continuous on the rotor, so you don't have the, if you do have a slug go through, at least keeps the pressure to it to where it'll keep going, rather than breaking a shear bolt, you keep shoving through into the feeder house, and then you have a nice plug to tear apart, and you're real happy about it. The next one is the Dynaflow Cleaning Shoe Plus, which is common on the 680s, the 780s and 790s. What it is you have a larger bottom sieve that is longer, extends farther back on top of the chaffer. So what that helps do is keeps everything, when you start going through, you reduce your tailings by having that extend farther back, so you're getting more cleaning done in the shoe rather than having to take your tailings back through and re-clean it is what the purpose is. Like I said, 28% reduce in tailings, and a 10% increase in capacity in corn, and 13% increase in capacity in small grains and shoe limited conditions. So that's a new option they have on the larger machines, is that longer cleaning shoe is what it is. It's still the same cleaning shoe that was there before, it's just extended on the 780s and 790s. And I'm going to touch a little bit on the Combine Advisor package. That is part of the active yield, like Brad had touched upon. Combine Advisor package, what it does, it gives you kind of a thing to follow when you're harvesting. So this would be like a page you got going on. All these blue, it also has extra cameras in there in your clean grain. So if you have, I don't know if do we have that there? So based upon, in that picture over there, that is a live video of harvest this year in wheat, and you can see it's showing the clean grain coming through. What that does, I'll go back, is that on that screen, it'll show you unthreshed or pieces of foreign material inside that you have going through your clean grain. So what that does is it then will give you different options. These will highlight blue of what you can change to see differences and get more threshing, clean grain coming through, getting more of the, if you've got sticks or something coming through, it'll tell you kind of where you need to change to see those settings. And with those cameras in there, you can see your change right away. So say if you were to turn your fan up or turn your fan down right away, you can see the change rather than waiting for the grain tank to be full or come up to the window so you can see it. Well, if you've got a full bin or close to a full bin, and you can make that adjustment and still see it on the camera, that saves you from having to dump, fill up to a third full, see what's going on. You can see it actively right in front of you at all times and make your changes directly that way. And based upon it, you have to have Gen 4 command center shows is what it does. This part is where your camera is, and you can look on that machine. It's got a camera on it, so you can see what that camera looks like and how it goes onto the clean grain. The active terrain adjustment, that is a new option they have out too. This is a new feature that John Deere helps customers who be going up and downhill slopes. What it does is when you go up a hill, like in the picture showing there, the new feature will slow the cleaning fan down and open the chaffer and sieve elements to where more grain, as you can see, everything, that's when you're going downhill, it closes. When it opens up, it starts feeding through rather than trying to shove through the back of the machine, then it would come back through your tailings. What it does there is it does it to where it opens up and falls directly rather than getting worked all the way through. Same motion if you go down the hill. It opens up so it can start coming through and not get shoved all the way to the back. And like I said, it automatically does it for you based upon having your having the angle is what it does. And then we'll go to Justin now for the cab feeder. Is there any questions or anything like that?
Alrighty. They have improved that cab quite a bit. They've hit 10 features here. First one being the Gen 4 4600 command arm. They've made it more smooth flowing and more commonly across the John Deere sprayers and tractors, so it's more identical. You can also do the extended monitor. So it could be the 2630 or another 4600 processor. The ability to run information from one place and with 2 screens. This is the big one. They've redesigned the hydro handle to make it completely customizable except for your auger and your header operations are the same. But everything else on there, you can customize it to what buttons you want to do what. It is no longer, this is this button, this is that button. They've also made the armrest a little more ergonomic and smoother. This is a big one in most people's eyes. They've added a cell phone holder now. You can also do, they make kits, so the guys that are running iPads in there with their systems, they make mounts now that you can mount that to the armrest as well. They've put a swivel seat in there now. You've got 15 degrees one direction, 7.5 the other. So a little easier to move around in there. They've also improved the cooling time on that ventilated seat. And then they've improved the seat cushion for a little better comfort. They've also put foot pegs now, instead of the windshield or your brake handle. They've also, this is an orderable option now. They make to where you can put grain tank mirrors on there. And that is retrofittable back on the S series to the 600s. They've increased the door latch to be a little more easier to open and close for you guys. With that being said, we'll take a brief break here, get up, stretch your legs, get a drink. If you want to walk around that combine, look up in the cab there, see some of those features, a little firsthand, feel free.
I'm going to touch just briefly on my John Deere and the Operations Center and JDLink. There's a lot of new stuff here and a lot of stuff that we could go over, but that would be a whole day in itself. So I'm just going to do kind of a brief overview and some of the new stuff that has come out. So Apex is sunsetting. They haven't gave a for sure date that it's going to be turned off, but we do know that that's coming. The Operations Center has replaced Apex, and it is pretty much a total replacement now for Apex. So in Apex, within the backup, they have a feature that we can take your data that is in Apex and move it to the Operations Center. So there's 2 ways to do that. You can do that yourself, and it'll walk you through the backup utility. You log in with your credentials, and it'll upload that information. We can also do it here at the dealership, so we can put it on you can put it on a flash drive, or I can help you put it on a flash drive, bring it to the dealership, and we can upload it. So if you have lots of data, lots of yield maps, application data, so forth in Apex, you do need a stable internet connection in order to get that from Apex to the Operations Center. So you folks in the country know that internet's hit or miss sometimes. So that's not always an option, and so we can do that here at the dealership. So this is probably something you want to start working towards because, like I said, Apex is going to be sunsetting and it's going to be no longer supported. So the Operations Center is web-based. You can access it from any device, computer. You can give multiple logins, and as of right now, it's still free, and we have not seen anything that they're going to start charging for it. So I know that's hard to believe from Deere, but they do offer something free. So once you've done the backup in Apex and get that package over to the Operations Center, there's a few things that we need to complete before creating setup files and so forth. It's always a good idea to go in and verify the data that came over from Apex. These next 2 things really are really important. The equipment setup. So when that backup comes from Apex, you're just getting yield data and those kinds of things. It doesn't bring implements, it doesn't bring products and that stuff over. They want you to set that up from scratch in the Operations Center. So it's really important that we go in and make sure we get those equipment types in there, a tractor, combine, sprayer, or so forth. Even if you maybe don't have a sprayer, it's not a bad idea just to add a generic one, because down the road, you'll discover this when you go to use those files on your display. If you don't have that type, it won't be there. So, you know, and there's situations where maybe you need that specific type, a combine or tractor, because then you can always type it in. So it's real important that we make sure we get all that stuff set up. Applicators are one, like if you have an NH3 tool or a liquid toolbar, we need to make sure we get that set up in there. So same thing with the product setup. It's really important that you have all the different crop types that you're going to plant or harvest, or both. So such as wheat, corn, soybeans, and so forth. So if those aren't in there, you can't add them manually on that display. So we want to make sure we have all those set up. Now, you can just do a generic and use that, or you can actually go in and put your varieties, chemicals, and that kind of stuff. So, and then set up operators as well. So that one's not as critical as those other two, the equipment setup and product setup. I'm going to go through just a few slides here of some of the new features and enhancements that the Operations Center is offering. They've made a lot of improvements to the field analyzer, where you can now begin to edit some data, and more of that will become available. They've made some improvements to the harvest post-calibration. One thing that's coming here rather soon is a new tool to adjust yield data on multiple harvesters in the same field. So if you run two or three combines or however many in that same field, maybe there are different year models, and they, you know, capture your yield data a little bit differently. We can calibrate those, post-calibrate those independently instead of it just being a blanket. So that's coming really soon. You can, for the guys that use 2020 precision planting, you can take that data from their monitor and import it into the Operations Center, and it'll put a layer there so you can see that. So that one does not transfer over the wireless. It has to be done USB. The product manager has been overhauled. There was a previous version that was pretty basic. This is a lot more in-depth, where you can add your varieties, your chemicals, your tank mixes, all that can be done. There's a global database that you can actually search for products and pull those in, the ones that you use, and it will bring information with it. So, or you can manually add products that you use, or maybe you just want a generic corn or just a generic wheat, and not actually pick a variety. Land Manager is fairly new. It was introduced here in 2017. This replaces the guidance management. This tool gives you a lot more ability to do things. You can edit fields, you can edit straight guidance lines, you can rename, delete boundaries, lot more. We can do a whole lot more with this tool now than we could before. So one really neat feature of within the Land Manager is the snap a straight guidance line to a boundary. So if you've got a boundary around a field, that may not be a true 90 or a true 0, you can actually create a guidance line on those. So it only works with straight guidance right now, straight lines, but they are working on curves and circles and those things. So if you get a chance, get in there and play with that. It's pretty cool the way that works. This was just released, probably in December, was the crop planner. You can actually go through and plan your whole entire year. You could do multiple years. It looks at your total acreage that you have in there, and it'll give you a percentage of what you've done and what you haven't done. And then you can actually transition over into the jobs features and give even more detail. So it's a great way to plan out the whole year if you need to. Or multiple years if you got a crop rotation or something like that. So. Many more new features and enhancements coming in 2018 to my John Deere and the Operations Center. We haven't even seen everything that they're going to release in 2018, but I do know there's a lot of stuff coming. So, and Deere is always making updates to the Operations Center all the time. So I think like every 2 weeks they're pushing out updates and fixing things, and that's the nice part about being a web-based application, that they can do that. A desktop software such as Apex, was a month, maybe every other month update to fix issues. Switching gears here a little bit, we'll go over to the JDLink side. Deere is currently offering a program to upgrade your 2G modems to a 4G modem in any combine, sprayer, tractor, any of the vehicles. So the industry is shutting down 2G modems, the cell companies. So Deere is offering a program to upgrade those 2G modems at a reduced cost. It does expire at the end of February, and you get 1 year with the little over $1,200, 1 year of JDLink Connect and 5 years of JDLink Access plus remote display access, and then that comes with the hardware, and that is installed. So you get a $400 rebate, so it ends up being $840 per machine. So, and if you want to get with me, we can look and see if your machine is eligible for this, if it has a 2G modem, and we can look and see about upgrading that. So. Also with that, the JDLink Connect subscription, they've got a reduced pricing on that until the middle of March. Normally it's $600. They're offering it for $200 right now, and that only works with 3G and 4G modems because we cannot apply an activation or subscription to a 2G modem. So. And we can do multiple years on that. So, for somebody that is using JDLink and JDLink Connect, this is a great savings, a great offer, and you may want to look at making sure your subscriptions are up to date. So the JDLink Connect gives you everything. It's the full suite. So the wireless data transfer, the remote display access, the diagnostics, the stats, and everything on the JDLink website. So. And lastly, there's a copy in each of your packets that you guys are welcome to take with you, along with the other material. American Implement offers a Precision Ag Support Agreement. We have different tiers. One of them is kind of geared towards the My John Deere and the Operations Center to get that started. And this would cover phone support, on-site, just each one of them is a little bit different. So. If you do not have a support agreement, you're liable for shop rate, time, and mileage for one of us AMS guys to either help you over the phone or come out and do those sorts of things. So, any questions about My John Deere and the Operations Center? It's a great tool. It's, like I said, it's free. Go out and try it. If you need help with your account, you probably all have an account, may not know what it is. If you need help getting in, let me know. I can sure help you do that. So help you get the data over.